Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Beat KC. I am your host, Sam Mellinger, and here with me is the talent, Terez Paylor. There's a little known fact. This is the third podcast that me and Terez have done together. The first two, shall we say, were limited edition, limited distribution.
Yeah, it was good stuff too. I wish the people could have heard it. It was great stuff.
Right before the season, we called that the Chiefs would be 4-5 and that Peyton Manning would be benched in week 10 of the season. Yep. But nobody will ever know that. All right, so we are recording this on Monday afternoon. We both flew back from Denver today. You were a little bit more ambitious than I was. You got on that early flight so you could go to the press conference. Is that what we call it, a press conference?
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. Okay. You get there and ask your questions. But that's the thing though. Look, man, I'm a beat writer. I believe in going to availability. So if I got to take a 5:50 a.m. flight to do it, most of the time I'm going to do that. And it was good to be there and ask your questions and stuff. And I feel like I got some answers to some things I'd wanted to ask Andy that I didn't get a chance to ask him on Sunday. So hey, you do what you got to do to get the job done, right?
That's right.
That's how this thing rolls, right?
We've been doing this a few years.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody, right?
All right, so we're talking the Chiefs are at a really interesting point in their season, I think. 4-5, tied with two other teams at 4-5, a game out of the 6th seed, the second wild card in the AFC. And I think that when a team loses 5 games in a row, the last thing, some of them just blow out incompetent fashion.
They tank.
Their best offensive player, is out for the year. The last thing you're thinking about is the playoffs.
Right.
But now, all of a sudden, the last 7 games of the season, you had this in your game, or what was it, the 16 and 30? I don't know. Some terrible record of their last 7 opponents, right?
Yeah, they got 7 games left against 5 teams. Those 5 teams are combined 15 and 31.
Yeah. That's
pretty bad. I mean, they got a chance here to go 9-7, Then if they really get on a roll, you can't rule out anything. But, man, after where they were at 1-5, like, who would have bet this?
Yeah.
The last 3 wins have been huge, and the thing that turned it around was that Pittsburgh game. They caught a break with Roethlisberger not playing, but they still had to take that one, and then they disposed of a terrible Lions team. And this was the game this was the one that could potentially turn their season.
Yeah.
And they came out and they played hard. They played well. They played their butts off, and they deserve credit for that, and they deserve credit for staying together because, 1-5 in this league, locker rooms can start splintering, teams go in the tank, and you always get the sense that they always knew they were better than that.
Yeah.
So kudos to them for that. There aren't a lot of teams that could bounce back the way they have.
I wanted to ask you about that, too, because I remember this is a point you've consistently made over the last month or so that – I remember you said it right after that Steelers game when they finally won, and at that point it was sort of like, yeah, way to go. You beat a third-string quarterback at home and all those things. But I do think that it speaks to I wish I could think of a better word right now, but the character in the locker room. But maybe even more than that, the respect that those guys have for the coaching staff to go, because like you said, 1-5, I think one of the terms you've used and other people have used is, guys can start to make business decisions.
Oh, they make
right?
business decisions now. Maybe you don't go head in on that tackle. Maybe you don't go all the way.
Yeah.
Maybe you start. If you're a guy that's going into free agency, maybe you're not tackling the 230-pound running backs coming at you the way. But it says a lot now when a guy like Sean Smith, who's a veteran. Mm-hmm. Sean Smith's a veteran. He's about to get his last big payday after this season. This team is 1-5. And against the Steelers, down the sideline, he hawked Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
A player with lesser character, football-wise, would have just gave up on it. What am I doing this for? Whatever. But that's the kind of effort that it takes. Like that was impressive.
Yeah.
That really was impressive. And we've written about Sean's play, and we've kind of written about the way they've shown that football character that you're talking about. And I really don't think it's that common for teams to kind of bounce back the way they have. But they still got to finish the job, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know how long the list is, but it can't be long if teams have had a 5-game losing streak and made the playoffs. But the Chiefs are obviously, they've got a chance. And the 538 thing, and 538 is great for politics. Its record on predicting things in sports is pretty shoddy. But For whatever it's worth, and Nate Silver's a hell of a lot smarter than me, and dare I say you?
I would concur.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 57-58% chance or whatever it is for the Chiefs to make the playoffs, according to their calculations. But let me ask you a two-part question, right? So, what do you expect the rest of the way? Like, will they make the playoffs or not? And the second part is, if we are talking about a wild card game, in January, like, what do the Chiefs have to do better than they've done so far?
All right, so I think that they can go 9-7, 8-8, something like that, and I'm even projecting a 9-7 with one of those bad losses that is coming. They're going to lose one of those games to the Chargers. That's going to happen, or they'll lose the Buffalo, or they'll lose the Browns or the Ravens or something. There's going to be a bad loss here in one of those 4 games. You can mark that down. That's going to happen. But even if that happens, if they beat Buffalo at home and they split with the Raiders, Sam, they're still 9-7.
Yeah.
That still might get you in the playoffs. And then if they really get on a roll, maybe that bad loss doesn't happen. But the safe bet is they go 8-8 or 9-7. That's what I'll project. But this thing sets up pretty well because one of the best things about the National Football League is that when a team gets confident and they get momentum, and then they get an easy schedule with bad quarterbacks ahead of them.
Yep.
You got a chance to do some stuff. Like, look, Tyrod Taylor's not going to terrify anybody.
Sure.
You know what I mean? No one's scared of Tyrod Taylor. That's still a tough game. Buffalo, they'll bring it to you a little bit up front. But, Derek Carr's still learning. He's going to be a solid quarterback in this league. Carr's okay. I fully expect them to split with Oakland. Let's say the Ravens have Flacco. I can't believe they're 2-7.
That makes no sense.
That doesn't make any sense. That's one of the best. The Ravens are one of the league's best teams when it comes to evaluating players. They have stability. They have a good coach. They have a coach with a pedigree. That doesn't make any sense. There's something weird going on there. I don't know what it is. There's something off there. The Browns are probably going to tank the rest of the way. They'll probably win there. But the Chargers, their offensive line is absolute garbage. Let's call it for what it is. And their defense is bad too. But, Rivers can throw. Rivers can steal. Rivers can chuck it, and maybe he gets going. And you might lose one of those. But that's the thing. Like, hey, it's out there for them. Yeah. And what they've got to do better to win in the playoffs, I think the defense needs to keep playing well. Hey, this offense has to start pounding it in the red zone now.
Yeah.
And this team is far too field goal reliant, too field goal heavy. It's nice that Cairo Santos has been really good this year. That's nice. That's great. In the playoffs, though, how many times have you seen like that field goal heavy stuff come back to bite you?
Yeah.
You can't do that against good teams. You can't. You can't do what you did yesterday and expect to beat a playoff team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You need to capitalize on some of these scoring drives, and they know that.
Yeah. I think a couple things about that. Like they, if we just judge that game in isolation, settling for 6 field goal attempts is not the end of the world because you're playing from ahead, and that Peyton Manning was just jaw-droppingly terrible, and they weren't forced to stretch it at all. So if you just judge that game in isolation, then maybe that's fine. But a game that they did need more points. Cairo Santos tied a franchise record with 7 field goals, right, in Cincinnati. So that is definitely there it is. What are we calling that? The triple horn?
Yeah, the rap triple air horn. Yeah.
And this time you smiled. They can't see it because this is a podcast. But on the video last night,
I just love it. I just love everything about it.
You're just straight face.
I just love it.
So my sense, like, tell me if you think I'm wrong about this. I think the Chiefs are going to do well down the stretch, in part because of the crappy schedule. But I think they're going to finish a game out of the playoffs, and we're going to be talking about the Denver game, the first Denver game,
Chicago,
or the Bears game,
clearly Chicago,
which they folded. Man, they were up 14 when Charles got hurt, right? And that game that just knocked them dead. I think that's what we're going to look back on. That's where the Chiefs kind of sunk their season.
Look, I've been hard on them throughout that streak. We all were. But I tell you what, though, after starting 1-5, you still finish 9-7 or a game out.
Yeah,
that sets you up okay for a nice little run next year. An 8-8 schedule, this team's not really. This was never a 5-11 team on paper or a 6-11, 6-10. Yeah,
Especially
this was
a good coaching staff. Too.
Right. This was always like a 9-ish win team. And that's what I predicted them to win before the season started. And like if you get an 8-8 schedule, okay, and you get another year to remake, kind of solidify this offensive line, keep adding guys to what you do a little bit, you got a chance to do some stuff next year. Now, you still got decisions ahead of you. Derek Johnson to be a free agent. Derek's looked better the last few weeks, by the way.
Quicker, right?
He means a lot to these guys as far as he's a smart guy and he sees what's coming and he's important in there. Derek's an important guy for them. But they've got decisions to make too. Sean Smith, obviously, they got to do something with him there. I mean, you've got Peters, you got Gaines, but Gaines has an ACL now. You're gonna have to get another cornerback regardless. Even if you just got to be careful there. There's some decisions they got to make, and obviously you hope Jamal comes back to be what he was. I mean, you kind of need some things to go right for you, but they are set up okay for next year, provided they can finish the season out respectably.
All right, that concludes part 1 of this podcast. We're going to have a message from a sponsor. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sports Beat KC podcast. I am the host, Sam Mellinger, here with the talent, Terez Paylor. And yesterday in that Broncos game, the big thing that everybody's talking about nationally is the horrendous play of Peyton Manning. But one other interesting thing that if not for Peyton, I think we'd be talking a lot more about is this sort of bullying, for lack of a better term. I mean, just sort of the physical nature. And the Chiefs and Broncos the last few years, I mean, this has been a building story, right? We all remember the Travis Kelce, gesture that he got fined for and things like that. And for the most part, very much including the first game this season, the Broncos have been slapping the Chiefs around, basically. Yeah, the Chiefs have just taken it.
They took it. I mean, they took it hard. I mean, it was – look, I mean, they hit their quarterback multiple times. They hit him low. They hit him high. Yeah. Alex Smith got speared. I mean, that's a real thing. Like, that – I remember I wrote a story about, retaliation, which was completely – we completely came up with, my editors, after watching that game. But we was like, let's dig into this a little bit. Like, and so now to hear the Broncos talk about how the Chiefs are a dirty team, Malik Jackson said that, T.J. Ward said that. That's the first I heard of that. I think that's the Chiefs kind of matching what Denver's going to bring. Yeah. And that's a good sign if you're the Chiefs, though. That's a great sign. If they think you're dirty, well, this is the team that's had guys, suspended for eye poking. I mean, we've seen what Von does. Von will hit you. These guys don't. Right. They don't mess. And look, I like that football. I like that. I like when football's nasty and violent and stuff. I like that. But I think if you're a Chiefs fan, like I thought Andy Reid in today's press conference, he expressed a certain degree of. I thought he was proud of his team for standing up to those guys. Yeah, I'm sure they took some shots, but whatever that was the genesis of whatever had come the previous 2 years. Yeah, that's all that was.
No, for sure. One thing, like, the first quote from a Denver Broncos player that I saw was Von Miller, who was asked basically, "Are the Chiefs dirty?" And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, "No, I'm never gonna. That's how I play football. That's hard football."
Right, I like Von Miller for that, by the way. Kudos to you. Don't be a hypocrite, right? Yeah.
And I like Von Miller anyway because he does the ravishing Rick Rude dance after sacks, which I think is hilarious. But then to see T.J. Ward and Malik Jackson go the other way, and I mean they have to know, right? Like maybe it's sort of. Protesting too much or whatever, but they have to know. You mentioned the eye poke, the reason that Talib was out, and that's their reputation. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but then for them to say the Chiefs are dirty, and Ja Reed, that was a dirty hit, for sure. But I thought it was totally,
I liked it.
In context, I thought it was justified.
I'm a caveman. I liked it.
Yeah. In context, it was completely justified.
I actually told Ja this after the game. I don't know if there is one player in the NFL that has hit Alex Smith more the last 3 years than Von Miller. Yeah. That has hit him high. They've hit him low. You know what? You got that gun on the ground. You got a chance to make a point. by all means. Yeah. It's early in the game. This is going to be a different game. Fine. I actually asked Andy Reid about that today, and he's like, look, I felt like Andy appreciated that he was trying to make the point. But yeah, he said, like, look, that last part wasn't needed because it was a good play anyway to put him on the ground in the first place. Yeah. And I get that. But just from my point of view, after watching the last 5 games between these two teams, you want to let Von Miller know, hey, this is not how it's going to be now. The last game where you had it, where you're coming at it, it's not going to be that way. Yeah. I'm fine with it. I get it. I give him a pass. That's just me, though.
I also think there's a big difference between what Andy Reid is going to condone publicly. Like,
for sure.
Head coaches can't just go out and say a 15-yard penalty, good for you. But I bet when they're watching film, Ja Reed's going to be the hero of that room,
And Andy's actually pretty good at communicating when, he feels like a guy's done something good, but he can't, say it. Like with Fish, remember with Fish, he pretty much just excused Fish for it. With Mike, I think it was Mike Mitchell.
West.
Yeah, with Mike Mitchell. Yeah, I get that. So he probably did I feel like he did feel like the last part was unnecessary. But from our vantage point, where we're seeing Von Miller thrusting every 5th play and, they're spearing your quarterback and they're just, look, I don't know. The Broncos pulled out some Miami in the early '90s stuff that first game.
The year you're talking about,
there were
the
4.
Dolphins.
Yeah, there were 4. Weren't there 4 personal foul penalties in the first half? They were trying to tell him you guys think you're gonna do it, and this isn't the year. They tried to bully him, and you captured that greatly in your first column from that game. And all anyone remembers is the fumble now. But shoot, man. Hey, man, they deserve credit for standing up to those guys. And now the key is taking that physical mentality and carrying it forward now, because you can't win in November and December and especially January unless you're a nasty football team. So these guys got to prove this wasn't just a 1-week vengeance thing.
Yeah, right. All right, so they can't catch the Broncos, right?
I don't think so, but, man, Manning was really bad.
He was terrible, but I think Osweiler can be average, maybe.
I think their schedule's pretty tough the rest of the way. I don't think
they play New England in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't think they can catch them, but you never say never in this thing. God, if Manning is – let's just say Manning's done. Let's say he can't get it back, or they continue to be stubborn and don't run – and they continue to be stubborn and don't run the stuff he's good at. By the way – where were all the pick plays they used to run? That they used to torture. Where were all those? They just abandoned those? Where was that stuff at? Here we go. Here's a schedule. You got the Bears. They can beat them.
That's
Patriots.
Chicago, though.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a winnable game. Yeah. Patriots, probably a loss. Chargers on the road, that's a win. Raiders at home. Raiders are competitive, man. Jack Del Rio's done a nice job there.
It's a 60-40 game.
Yeah. At Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh in December. And at home against Cincinnati. Hey, we saw Cincinnati up. Cincinnati's good, man. You know one thing that Cincinnati does that other teams in this league cannot do, and we've seen this here? Cincinnati can protect the quarterback. You got to see how good Andy Dalton is because he doesn't get hit.
Yeah.
You can't – they protect the quarterback. That's going to carry them a long way this year. And then, they're still winning 10 games. But
I see 4 losses there, though.
Yeah, it's
between at Bears, Patriots at home, Raiders at Steelers, and Bengals at home. That's 5 games. They could lose 4 of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. It's still, but that assumes that the 4-5 Chiefs can become the 10-6 Chiefs, which I think requires a stretch of the imagination a little bit.
That's when you're wearing the red glasses. You're wearing You sipping the Chiefs Kool-Aid if you think. But maybe not. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not going to rule out anything with these guys, man. This team has been up and down, and the schedule's set up nicely for them, and I've always thought they were better than their record. Let's just see what happens. Let's play football. Let's see what happens.
Hey, so let me ask you about this. And I apologize. I'm going to ask you about what I wrote, but I'm mostly asking you about what Justin Houston said.
Sure.
And just your reaction to it. I didn't think it was an outrageous thing at all. It was just something that he said that surprised me. So I basically asked him, beating the Broncos finally, it's got to feel good. And he said, I think it was more from the first game. We know the first game wasn't supposed to happen like that. To lose the way we did, it hurt. I think it kind of messed with our momentum. I think we're back on track now. We just got to stay with it. And then I basically said, whoa. So the way that you lost the Broncos game caused you guys to lose more games after that. And he said, I definitely think so. That's one thing we can't do. You have to have a bad memory in football. I mean, there's any number of ways to read that. Maybe he's, I don't know. The most damning is that's a mentally weak team that reacted to a bad loss in a bad way. The most positive way is we're past that now, and this is the real Chiefs. Like, what was your reaction to that?
My thought is they played the Packers the next week, and the Packers were actually good then, and Aaron Rodgers absolutely eviscerated them. So I think maybe if they play the Bears the next week, they win, and like he can't say that. And Cincinnati's legitimately good. That's who they played after. And look, they were going to beat the Bears too. Like I don't feel like they had any losses that they shouldn't have had, except Chicago when they lost that game because of Jamal Charles going down. They were gonna beat them by 20.
Which I
watched the game. I'm sure he's right. I'm sure there's something to it. But at the same time, if you're playing a bad team in the week after, maybe they get back on the right track. And I don't know, man.
The Bears game is actually like one thing that I was thinking about, because you're right, they weren't going to beat the Packers.
They weren't going to beat the Packers.
The way the Packers were playing.
And they weren't going to beat the Bengals.
But losing to the Bears the way that they did,
maybe that
to
has
me is a sign of, and there's something real about seeing, not just one of the best players on the team, at least in my view, probably the second best player on the team behind Justin Houston.
But that guy specifically.
And they love that guy so much. And to watch him go down, then that does affect you emotionally. I think there's, it sort of brings back a memory of last year. Was it last year?
Yeah, with Derek
and DeVito, Derek Johnson and DeVito in the season opener against the Titans. But I just don't you have to be strong enough to get through that and finish off the Bears, right?
I would think so. Chicago's John Fox is a good coach, man. Gase can coach offense. His defensive coordinator, that's a well-coached team. The Bears got a good coaching staff there. And remember in that game, that's what happens. Any quarterback in this league, if you give him time, they'll make throws on you now. Cutler made some throws.
That touchdown.
That was a grown man throw.
God, that was you can't throw it better than that.
That was a grown hit. That's why Cutler got paid.
Yeah.
Because he can make that throw sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that comes with that. There's a lot more that comes with that too now. But look, man, you got to finish those guys off. But those aren't the Lions, okay? That's a well-coached team. That's a well-coached team.
I love it when you slam the Lions, by the way.
What do you want me to do? What's the antithesis of the rap triple air horn? That's what they get. I was
the rap triple fart.
I was weaned on Lions football. Kudos to them for winning in Green Bay for the first time in 25 years on Sunday. I was 7 in 91. The last time they won that, I was 7 years old. So, good for them. I actually had a pretty good time, kind of riffing on that game, and
you did. That was fun.
It was pretty good.
I enjoyed sitting next to you.
It was actually quite surprising to see them not lose that game on just a Mason Crosby field goal into the east end zone, just right down the middle. Just could not be more down the middle. I cannot say how many times the Lions have lost in my childhood on field goals to the Packers in the east end zone, both in Ford Field and Lambeau, that just could not be more down the middle. From Ryan Longwell to Mason Crosby, I've just seen them lose many games that way, and it did not happen. It would have happened if they didn't block it. Please believe that was right down the middle. That thing was going to go right in there. And they did it with 10 men on the field, too. So, maybe things are changing in the line. Nah, things aren't changing.
Yeah.
You know what I bet's going to happen with the Lions? I bet you that game is going to cost them a chance of, like, Goff or Paxton Lynch. I would take – you know what? I tell you what. If you're a betting man, whoever goes in front of the Lions pick, the player taken immediately before the Lions pick, that guy is going to end up being a 5-time All-Pro. I guarantee it. That's a lock. You can just that's the Paylor lock of the week. You can just mark that right on down.
I do enjoy when it's just pointed out Chiefs fans do not have a monopoly on just self-defeatism.
Well, I understand it from Chiefs fans, man. I mean, I get it, but you got a Super Bowl. My dad doesn't even know what that is. Like my dad was 2. He was born in 55. He was 2 the last time they won the NFL championship. Like Lions fans are definitely in a worse place than Chiefs fans. And
1969 was a long time ago, and I would just
your dad's
I forgot who I heard say this first, and they probably stole it from somebody else. But there's probably some element of making it like distinguishing at that level. Is not worth doing. If the Chiefs Super Bowl was what 1969 was that 46?
That's
46. That was a long time ago.
I get it, but you got one, and I mean 0-16.
Yeah. I'd also probably point out
0-16
to Chiefs fans that comparing their failures to the Lions' failures probably doesn't make them feel any better.
That's probably true. It's
If you're just in the same room, that's not a room you want to be in. So
you don't want to share that Lions-Browns corner. You don't want to be in that mix.
And the Chiefs are closer to that than they care to be. So anyway, maybe on that note, maybe we should sign off for a week. But Terez, what are the % chance that this is going to actually hit the air this time? Our third podcast together.
I don't know, man. We got Fick Dog in the room now.
Yeah.
We got our editor Chris Fickett in here now. I think
finally got an adult.
I think Chris. Yeah, we got an adult to monitor us. I trust Chris.
Yeah.
I think it's 99%. I think Chris will get it in there. Chris will get it in there.
Yeah. All right.
Chris is the one that helped me come up with the idea for the retaliation story I did last year. I was really proud of that story. So yeah, I got a lot of faith in Fick Dog.
All right. Well, Chris, you're on the clock now, buddy.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. As always, please catch our coverage in the Kansas City Star, and kansascity.com.
And I gotta say, the Star coming through. Kudos to you guys on excellent Royals coverage.
Thank you.
I thought
it was fun.
I thought for as important of a moment as that was for the city, you guys absolutely killed it, and we can definitely take a lot of pride. I felt proud to be a writer for the Star, but even based on what you guys did a hell of a job, man.
Thanks, man. That's very cool of you to say.
Yeah.
All right. With that tearful ending,
you can't just accept it. Just accept it.
I did. I said thanks. It was very cool of you to say.
Tearful ending.
But thanks everybody for listening. kansascity.com, Red Zone Extra. What is it? Terez A. Paylor?
Yeah, it's just Terez Paylor.
Oh, just Terez Paylor. Kansas
This
City
is Sam Mellinger, the Kansas City Star.
All right.
Sports BKC.
Thanks for listening, guys.
All right, guys.